Hi, everyone. My name is Debbie Buyaki. I'm one of the co-leads at Youth for Ecocide Law, and today I'm going to be taking you through the legal side of climate and try to explain how law can also be used to protect and preserve and also regenerate Earth as it is now. We're having a bit of a crisis with our environment, but there are avenues that can be used and will be used to change the direction of that. So scientists, in a sense, have given us up to 2030, and as of last year, the climate clock actually came down by 2 years because of how fast we're progressing in the climate crisis. But hopefully, by such initiatives as of using the law as a tool to protect Earth, we hope to find a solution to saving our only home, only known home as of now, and preserving it for the future generations. So today I will walk you through our digital toolkit and tell you what our network is all about. So Youth for Ecocide Law is our name, and we are Stop Ecocide International's global youth movement. Recently, as of last year, June 2023, we had an Africa group, which is more regional. And hopefully this year we're hoping to start Youth for Ecocide Law Europe or Asia. At the beginning of our talk is an opening statement. Young generations, though least responsible, are set to feel the greatest impacts of the climate and ecological crisis we face. But as young people, we refuse to simply be victims of environmental breakdown. We're critical drivers of urgency, solutions, and hope. And to guarantee a genuinely sustainable future for generations to come, we need to prevent and criminalize the most serious harms to the natural world upon which we all rely on. Youth for Ecocide Law advocates for the inclusion of the crime of ecocide in the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. Let's bring our voices together and tell everyone about ecocide law. The greater the awareness, the more people using the word ecocide, the more governments will see that it's time to make it a crime. Whoever you are, climate justice organizer, a young professional, a student like yourself, or simply a young person worried about your future, you can play a key part in this rapidly growing movement. This toolkit will give you everything you need to know and help you be effective in spreading the word ecocide. So it's just an empowering tool to tell you that we have something here that you can use to advocate for the crime of ecocide and the planet as it is now and trying to save it for the future. So let's get to it. What is ecocide? Ecocide is broadly understood to mean mass damage and destruction of ecosystems, severe harm to nature, which is widespread or long-term. So ecocide is targeting environmental damages and destructions that are widespread, that are huge, and tend to affect lots of ecosystems even at once or going through a number of years. The ecosystems will be destroyed. So we have a legal definition that was conveyed in 2021 by a commission of experts, but that's too legal. We don't need to go there. It's just mass environmental damage, and the people committing these crimes have the knowledge that this will potentially cause severe harm to environmental ecosystems across the world. So it's like a crime that's committed knowingly. On Earth, there are huge courts that govern how the states and countries run. The biggest courts being the United Nations, the UN courts, that's the ICJ, covering 196 countries. And then we have a second court, the International Criminal Court, that specifically deals with criminal offenses. It has 123 member states. So far, we only have 4 crimes charged by the ICC, and that's the crime of genocide, war crimes, the crime of aggression, and the crimes against humanity. These crimes are charged during war times. So we have only 4 crimes against peace, and we're proposing the 5th crime, which is ecocide, to be a standalone crime that will be charged during war and during peace times. ecocide, the crime proposed, and having it proposed in the second highest court, but the only court that charges criminal offenses on earth. And this is being led by Stop Ecocide International, which is the mother body of Youth for Ecocide Law, and the state of Vanuatu, which is our big champion that is also leading almost a similar campaign in the ICJ, which is the International Court of Justice. What are the steps that this bill will take? So it has 4 steps. And the first step is one of the 23 member states proposes adding ecocide to the list of crimes. And that's what we're seeing with the state of Vanuatu. And then the second step is at the next annual assembly, a majority of states present must vote in favor of making this addition eligible. If it passes the majority, it goes to the third step, which is a special meeting takes place to discuss the final text. If 2/3 of the states vote in favor of the law, it is adopted. So after it has been discussed and passed, the proposal passed, it goes through debates and of course refining and redefining. So for us, we'll need to see what crimes will constitute ecocide, who can be charged, what it takes to charge a criminal. All those details happen in that stage. If it passes, then it proceeds to the next and final step, which is step 4. States that ratify, which is officially agree and must enforce the law into their own country 1 year later. So after this bill is passed into law, it's now dispersed into the 123 countries. And they have now to take a whole year to define that law into their constitutions and see how it will be charged and see who will be the governing bodies of that. So after that is when it starts spreading across the world. Of course, this takes a lot of time, but we're hoping to have the ecocide bill passed into law at best with 4 years. With the urgency, with the scientists giving us some scary statistics, we are having enough pressure, societal pressure, that will help us have this bill put into place in less time and see that Earth is protected faster than we are losing it. Going to the next page, we have a few supporters of ecocide, not only, this is not exclusive, you too can be a supporter, and myself, I could be a supporter. So we have a few people who are kind of big in the climate field that we have managed to get support, and that's ZA, Greta Thunberg, Cara Delevingne, Josh Oxby, Sophia Kaini. And of course, we have endorsing partners that help us explaining what ecocide means to their networks. As we said, a big part of our campaign is awareness and to empower young people to use the law as a defending and preservation tactic of planet Earth. If this all sounds really like something you'd like to also be part of, there's a way you can be engaged with us. So the first thing is joining Youth for Ecocide Law. And we have lots of events and webinars. We have screenings of animations or events across the world that are in line with us. Number 2, you could sign the petition urging governments to support ecocide law, and that's also being labeled as an Earth protector, which is something we are keen on. And if you still think that's too far-fetched, you could tell everyone about ecocide. So if you finish watching this lesson and you think you love what you see and you understand what's happening and what's going to be part of ecocide, you could tell your friends about it, you could tell your parents about it, and see how you can support ecocide law in protecting Earth. And this is now the background as well for Youth for Ecocide Law. We started off in 2021, and that's on and around Stockholm Plus 50, which came in 2022. And this was because of the growing response and frustration among global youth over the lack of action to address this crisis. And over the years, which is just a few years now, which is 3 years, we've grown our membership is now a global audience, and we're starting regional groups to target different areas, because we know the whole planet doesn't go through the same ecocide acts. There are different and specific areas that go through a completely different, let me say, field of ecocide. So maybe in one area, it's mass deforestation. In another area, maybe it's complete alienation of ecosystems because of mining oil. In another area, it could be ocean damage. So ecocide is different and looks different in various parts of the world. So our ambitions are to empower youth, voices in environmental movements, to build bridges between civil society, young people, the UN policy process, corporate decision making, and government policy. And number 3, to promote intergenerational respect. And this I say because, as we see in serious matters and legal matters, it's normally deemed for a different audience and a different generation. But having Youth for Ecocide Law is the wake-up call to the older generations that our voices also matter, and the decisions you're making will determine our futures. So why not have us also be part of our own futures in decision making? Still now going into how to amplify and key messages that could be used to support ecocide. We have a whole list in, I don't think I would go through it because it's a bit complex, but it's still in the toolkits. However, you could try and look at it and see if it still interests you to go into the deep matters. And if you would like to take the legal parts of defending the planet, or just stick to the simple sides. And here are the 5 expected outcomes of the ecocide law. And of course, I know there are more. Number 1, we see there'll be a systemic change, and it will create changes within our systems in responsibility for decision makers rather than on citizens. Because when it comes to ecocide, we're targeting the government officials and big CEOs who make decisions and sign documents that create a ripple effect on the environment. So, for example, oil barons who sign documents to have oil extracted, let's say, in Canada. And it's just a simple signature on a paper, but on the ground, it means thousands of trees will be cut. There will be thousands of unrestorable grasslands in Canada. So it will call for a systemic change. It will start from the top. So the people who make these decisions will no longer have to make them, because if they do, they will face a criminal charge. And that's something no one wants on them. So a systemic change is something we expect out of this law. The second one is multinationals and countries will have no other choice. They will be guided to do so the right way and have change, and their practices follow this rule. So this is to mean countries and, let's say, multinationals, is because sometimes ecocide is committed by different individuals of a said country, let's say country X, but they're mining gold and minerals in a different country. So ecocide, seeing that it will be an international crime, it will be able to catch the people who are not on the ground in the different country, but still peg them to the actions of ecocide happening in the other country, especially if you are part of the Rome Statute. I know there's lots of debates on what if the people committing this crime are not part of the ICC. As I mentioned, only has 123 states, and we have more states on Earth. So what if the other states are the ones committing ecocide? And one thing that this crime will cover is the fact that it's multinational. So you can be from a country that's not part of the ICC, but if you commit an ecocide crime in a country that's in the ICC, you will be held liable. The next outcome is a healthy innovation, and this is to stimulate innovation in a positive direction in all sectors. So if you know your ecosystems will be protected by this law, it will motivate you to continue having healthy innovations, as well as taking care of how much and how far you can go in destroying the environment for profit. So I am a tree planter, and I plant trees across the world. So far, I have a few thousand trees in 6 of the 7 continents. So for me, this law will help me protect my trees and the people that help me to plant trees. And this is one thing that attracted me to being part of the movement, is to see that even if I plant the trees now, 200 years from now, they will have protection, because there will be a law that says you cannot cut down these trees in mass scale. And another positive outcome we're hoping to have is positive investment. And this is banks and investors will move investments to companies which put people and planet first. And we know there's a lot of ecocide that goes on with business. And how banks come in is that they finance those businesses. They give loans and credits to those businesses. So with this law, we'll have banks and businesses think twice on, do I really want to do this and have a criminal charge in my name or on my company and have the backlash that comes with that? So it will make us move towards positive investment and investing in businesses that are green and sustainable and healthy for our planet. And the final one is, it will transform relationships. It will shift cultural assumptions and transform our understanding of our relationship with nature. And my friend, who was one of the co-leads that started Youth for Ecocide Law, was mentioning to me the other day that, can you imagine if we were to defend the right to life if there was no law that says do not kill? So it's the same thing. If we're all planting trees, we're all picking plastic from the ocean, we're all trying to regenerate peatlands and all that, but there's no law that says the opposite of this is wrong. So having this law will set a guardrail on how far you can come, but also uphold the rights of nature. So when it comes to the do's and don'ts, so keep it simple when you're explaining to someone what ecocide is. And number 2 is empower listeners. And asking people to watch this episode or read our toolkit is one way. Focus on the outcomes, look for common grounds, demonstrate existing support, and use our resources and materials, which will be made available, including logos and stickers if you want to print them out, or a placard if you want to hang it in your room. They're all available on this toolkit. And the don'ts, don't shame or point fingers, because we need to have everyone on board. So if we're arguing within ourselves, it's going to defeat the outcome we're aiming for. So we're encouraging more people to be on board, and finding common ground, as I mentioned, is one of the things. So don't shame or point fingers. And this is on the legal side. Don't claim something is an ecocide act. This is because we have not had the experts and the lawyers specifically define what ecocide will be and what acts will be listed and labeled as ecocide. Being positive and giving hope is something we're really keen on. And of course, don't use hard language, and you don't have to remember everything. So if you just remember ecocide is a law that's being campaigned for to have mass environmental crimes charged across the world, that's good enough. You don't have to remember everything I've said or everything that's in the toolkit. And still on that, how you can spread the word is, you could follow us on our social medias. We have Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. We have a vibrant WhatsApp group that we use for updating our events and a bit of communication. We also meet physically. We try to make local events during major days like Earth Day or World Environment Day. We try to have people in different areas of the world do small gatherings and talk about ecocide or how they can further ecocide in their countries and societies and schools. And we also have the big conferences where we go. For example, COP27, COP28, Stockholm Plus 50. These are environmental conferences, and if you're interested, you could read more about them. Most of them are by the United Nations. So we always have presence on the ground to talk about ecocide to fellow youth, as well as diplomats and politicians and the decision makers. We aim and usually are keen to make sure that they hear our voice, that we want our planet protected, and there's a law that could do that, and that they need to support that law. So at the bottom is also some know-how questions if you're interested in supporting Ecocide on how to answer some questions that keep coming up when someone asks you on what Ecocide is or what is the extreme events, when this happens, why can't we just use a different tactic to protecting the environment? So some certain questions always recur, and we have a few answers we prepared at the bottom to help you navigate that. So that is the rundown of our toolkit, as well as our organization, our dream, our vision, and what we're working for. And of course, I'm open to answering your questions if you'd like to, if you're also interested in such a career, the legal side of climate, or just the legal side of things. I could answer some few questions that you have, and you could write to us at youth@stopecocide.earth, or you could visit our website. And we have people who do anything. It doesn't have to be as complicated as this. We have someone from the UK still that she has a donkey that she walks with to raise awareness about ecocide. And we have some people who do paintings for us. We have choirs that sing for Ecocide Law. So we have students now. So you can do anything. It doesn't have to be so intense or complicated. Just start where you are. I hope this is empowering to you and giving you the courage to also step up and do something to protect our only home as of now. We don't know if we can live on a different planet, but as of now, we only have Earth. So I encourage you to take action and join in wherever you can. Thank you.